Thank you for joining us today on Buffs History Buffs. This is my co-host Hank, and I'm Buff. We have two guest stars joining us, Jeffrey and Bill, uprising scholars in history, and will be assisting us in the
overview of
history.
American history.
That's why I love this guy.
Yep. The first event in American history that we are discussing is Jamestown, 1608.
Let's go to you, Bill and Jeffrey.
Was it 1607 or 1608?
7.
7?
7.
7 or 8?
7.
Next topic today is pilgrims.
1620.
Yep, they came to America, separatists. Hank?
The Puritans wanted to purify the church and separate from the Church of England.
Separatists, on the other hand, wanted to keep it the same. They're also known as pilgrims. So Bill and Jeffrey are going to help us with the Mayflower Compact.
What else
I was never
happened in
asleep.
1620?
Well, I think on November 11th, there was a Mayflower Compact.
Oh, yeah, they're saying the Mayflower Compact on the Mayflower?
Yeah, in Providence Harbor.
No, it's not Providence Harbor, stupid.
Oh, yeah,
It's
Province.
Harbor.
Province.
Yeah.
How?
The French and Indian War was a war between Britain and France that lasted from 1754 to 1763. The entire war was officially over in 1763 when the Treaty of Paris was signed. Marquis de Montcalm was a talented soldier and commander during this war. He engineered a series of stinging defeats to the British from 1756 to 1758.
Stamp Act, Sugar Act, and Quartering Act. Stamp Act said there was a tax on newspapers and stamps. Sugar Act on molasses and sugar. And Quartering Act is when American people had to give shelter to British soldiers.
The Treaty of Paris was the document signed that ended the French and Indian War.
Boston Massacre. Squad of British soldiers just opened fire on some civilians and killed 5 people.
The Boston Tea Party was when the Sons of Liberty dressed up like Indians and protested over the intolerable acts by throwing a shipment of tea into the water.
First Continental Congress was a meeting with 12 of 13 states saying that they were going to declare independence against Britain.
Paul Revere's Ride was when Paul Revere warned the Patriots that the British were coming.
Declaration of Independence told Britain that we're now our own country. So,
The Articles of Confederation worked as the first constitution, although it didn't really work out. It kind of failed.
Newburgh's Conspiracy is when planned by the Continental Army to challenge the authority of the Confederation Congress. And now a word from our sponsor.
Now it's time for the Brain Buff Speed Round. Buff, you're up first.
Whiskey Rebellion. The so-called whiskey tax was first tax imposed on domestic product.
Louisiana Purchase.
The purchase of the western half of the country.
Lewis and Clark.
They discovered the Louisiana Territory and the Pacific Ocean.
Francis Scott Key.
National anthem writer and a lawyer.
Monroe Doctrine.
Warns the Europeans that the United States would not tolerate further colonization or puppet monarchs.
Eli Whitney.
Cotton gin inventor.
Pony Express.
Mail delivery system.
The Alamo.
13-day siege by the Mexicans that attacked the Alamo.
Oregon Trail.
A long trail from Missouri to Oregon City.
California Gold Rush.
The settlers in California found gold and a bunch of people moved there.
Fugitive Slave Law.
Southern slaveholding interest and northern free soilers.
Abraham Lincoln.
16th President of the United States.
Jeffrey Davis.
Jefferson Davis was an American politician, 23rd U.S. Secretary of War, and the President of the Confederate States.
American Civil War.
The American Civil War was an internal conflict fought by the United States from 1861 to 1865.
Gettysburg Address.
Abraham Lincoln's famous speech.
At Gettysburg.
At Gettysburg.
General Ulysses S. Grant.
18th President of the United States. General of the United States Army.
Robert E. Lee.
Was American general who commanded the Confederate Army in the American Civil War from 1862 to 65. Appomattox Courthouse.
Was one of the last battles of the American Civil War.
Andrew Johnson.
Andrew Johnson was the 17th President of the United States.
Reconstruction.
The period following the Civil War of rebuilding the United States.
Andrew Carnegie.
Andrew Carnegie was a Scottish-American industrialist who led the expansion of the American steel industry in the late 19th century.
John D. Rockefeller.
He was in the American oil industry business and was widely considered one of the wealthiest Americans of all time.
John P. Morgan.
He was an American financier and a banker who dominated corporate finance and industrial consolidation in the late 19th and early 20th century in the United States.
Transcontinental Railroad.
Railroad line constructed between 1863 and 1869 that connected the existing eastern U.S. rail network with the Pacific coast.
Alaska Purchase.
Alaska Territory was purchased from Russia for $7 million.
Spanish-American War.
Was a conflict fought between Spain and the United States in 1898.
Progressivism.
Support for social reform.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Was an American statesman, author, explorer, soldier, naturalist, and reformer who served as the 26th President of the United States from 1901 to 1909.
Henry Ford.
Was an American industrialist, the founder of the Ford Motor Company.
Wright brothers.
They invented the first flying plane.
Well, that's all for today, folks. This is Biff Buff and
Hank Hunk.
signing off.